Hello and welcome to Connect and Collaborate. I am Alex Hopkins, your on-air producer, and I'm so excited to have in studio with me Megen Schlesinger. How are you doing, Megen?
I'm great. How are you?
Great. Wonderful. Thank you for asking. And so Megen is here because she is a nominee for our Champions in Industry Awards in the government section, government category, I should say. And you're with the Center for Technology Research and Commercialization, so C-TRAC, as you lovingly call yourselves.
Yes, say that 10 times fast.
Right, exactly. So yeah, we have the awards coming up December 3rd. That's on a Monday. That's going to be at the Cable Center from 11 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. It's a fun luncheon. It's our second year doing it. And so congratulations on getting nominated.
Thank you. Yes, we're very excited to be there.
Yes, you know, sadly they haven't told me who is going to win or anything, so we're going to have to find out together on Monday, December 3rd. But while you're here, let's go ahead and I'm going to start with a little intro with you. Tell me about your background and how you ended up at C-TRAC.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So as far as my background, I'm actually an Army veteran. I went to college at ROTC, and then I commissioned as a second lieutenant, and I served as a military intelligence officer on active duty for 7.5 years. I served kind of in a variety of assignments with different types of units. And then my husband was assigned to Fort Carson, and I couldn't find an assignment that really worked well for both of us, so I decided to leave the military. On active duty, I'm still actually a reservist, so I'm a weekend warrior with the Army still. But so we moved back to Colorado. That was my first duty assignment, so I was really excited to come back. And then I got my MBA because I wasn't really sure what else to do. And then after that, I had a friend actually that worked at C-TRAC, and she was getting ready to leave, and she was like, "Hey, you should apply for my job." So I did, and I ended up getting the job, and then I've had the pleasure of working there ever since. So that was about 18 months ago.
Oh, wow.
And I've just gotten to really get a really unique experience working in a whole bunch of different positions. And now I'm the director of operations there, and it's really great. It's been an awesome experience.
That is really great. Well, first of all, thank you for your service.
Oh, of course.
Yes, we're coming off Veterans Day, and
yes.
So that does not go unnoticed. It is something that I looked at doing myself, but I couldn't quite commit to going into
It's a big commitment. I get that.
Yes, it's a life-changing commitment. But it seems to have worked out well for you, and you're still doing the weekend warrior stuff, which is awesome. I love that. So yeah, now you're the director of operations for C-TRAC, which is amazing. So let's find out about C-TRAC and what they're all about and what exactly they do.
Sure, yeah. So C-TRAC is a nonprofit, and what we do at our core, like kind of our core mission set, is we bring government, industry, and academia together to kind of work in non-traditional collaborative ways, and we do that to help all parties secure a technological advantage and solve their problems so that they can really focus on what they need to focus on, whether that's fighting wars or, you know, doing research or whatever it is. We're there to kind of help provide a neutral environment through a lot of our contracts and programming that just helps us get one step closer to being able to achieve that mission and not let technology get in the way, and instead help us get better.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about some of the projects you have going on.
Sure. So our first project that I'll speak on is the U.S. Air Force CyberWorks program. So that's a program that's where I started at C-TRAC. So, you know, I have a special place in my heart for it. But it's an Air Force program that's housed out of the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. And so they work for the Air Force. They just happen to live at the Academy. And what they do is they receive big Air Force problems. You know, anything from how do we conduct mission command across air, space, and cyber, like how do we synthesize all that information so that commanders can make decisions and we can make all these different domains of warfare work together instead of in silos. So that's a huge problem set, right?
Yeah.
So that's just an example. We've done several of these projects, but at the heart of it, there's two formats we use, either a design sprint where we bring industry in for a week to sit and work with a bunch of the interested parties within the Air Force. So like, if this is my problem, I'm going to come and sit with industry and say, how do you guys do this? How do you attack these problem sets that may be totally not related to what you do? You know, movie producers aren't fighting wars in airspace and cyber, but at the same time, there may be different parts of industry that kind of have some kind of experience in some other way. Like, for example, with that problem set I was just talking about, like, that's a data integration problem, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And we have to do that all the time in the civilian world. So how can we leverage industry's ability to do this really quickly without restriction that the government there's a lot of bureaucracy, especially when it comes to acquisition, so and procurement of this technology. So if all the rules were off the table, how would we design a solution to these problems? And that's what C-TRAC does, is we bring industry players to the table, because the government can't just say, you know, hey, Netflix, how would you do this? You know, that's for us to help them with.
Right.
And then they do these either a 1-week design sprint, or they do semester-long projects, actually with the cadets. So we get industry people to come in to class every day, or every other day, excuse me, and they learn design thinking along the way. So, you know, if you've heard of design thinking and technology, it's similar to agile software development methodologies as well. But, you know, big design firms like IDEO and ones like those do this. Like, for example, IDEO helped design the mouse for computers with Apple. So, like, that's what really launched them into design thinking world. But that's the same methodology that CyberWorks applies to these problems. So, so far, C-TRAC has done, I'd say probably around 15 of these projects with them, resulting in some policy changes that have gone all the way to the Pentagon, as well as a few other projects that we're still kind of working down the line. We've secured additional rounds of funding to pay industry to build prototypes and stuff like that. So it's really interesting work.
That is really interesting work.
Yeah.
And particularly, so you are only Colorado-based, Colorado Springs, yes?
Well, so we, C-TRAC as a company is based in Colorado Springs, but our reach as far as who we bring to the table and to be part of the conversation is national.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but these policy changes, though, all the way to the Pentagon.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How was that? Was that like kind of a shining moment for you? Like,
yeah, I mean, obviously, it's actually CyberWorks' shining moment, but just to sit there and know that, you know, we at least brought different perspectives to the table and we help them hack through these problems. That's kind of where, you know, we all feel good working with CyberWorks. And I mean, especially a lot of us are veterans or veteran spouses, or we have some connection. The military is our primary customer. So a lot of us, it's near and dear to our hearts, because, you know, we want to solve these problems so that they're better at their jobs. You know, we're achieving that superiority that we're looking for.
Well, of course. And you guys see these problems immediately, right? You're in it. You're in with these problems. And so to be a part of the solution has to be super rewarding.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, of course. What other kind of projects are you working on here?
So our other big program that we have going on right now is the Catalyst Accelerator program.
Yes.
So it's called the Catalyst Accelerator because it's housed at Catalyst Campus, which is where we work out of. So it's a technology campus in Colorado Springs, and basically it provides that neutral environment where the government and industry and academia can come together and work, where it's not about a transaction. It's not about like who's got this contract and who's paying who. It's about, hey, I work here, you work here. Let's get together in our collab kitchen and have a beer and talk about what we can do together. So
I like collab kitchen.
Oh,
That's not one I've heard.
And 2 free beer taps. That's pretty awesome too.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. So beer brings everyone together.
Yes, it does.
But so we're at Catalyst Campus, and that's why it's the Catalyst Accelerator. But what that program is about is, so Air Force Research Lab funds it. They have given, this one is the research lab based out of New Mexico in Albuquerque. And so they've partnered with us to basically run an accelerator, a business accelerator program for them. So we kind of have 2 different formats as far as how do we select the companies. The first time around, we partnered with Space Capital Colorado, which is a space technology investment firm. So they did the selection for them. So we basically cast a net and said, hey, if you have a cool technology related to this problem set. First time around, the problem was terrestrial weather, which, is like, what? There's other weather than terrestrial weather, but there's space weather. So, but the Air Force is very focused on terrestrial weather because it affects all their operations. Yeah. And they're the proponent for weather for the military. So, as an Army person, I still look to the Air Force to say, hey, what's the weather? What's the impacts to our mission going to be? So, nobody can control the weather, but there's a lot that you can either learn more about it, get better at predicting how it's going to affect your mission, etc. So we cast the net for a bunch of companies to say, hey, if you have any cool weather-related technology, whether it's collecting the data, predicting it, a software package that could be used for weather, just apply, see what happens. And so we did a down select, and then we selected 7 companies, and they went through our Business Accelerator program. So the curriculum was taught by the Small Business Development Center out of Boulder. So we partnered with them. They came down every other week for 3 days a week and taught these small businesses, how to get better, how to learn about their customers, and how to tailor their products in a way that respected the market. Like that's a lean startup principle is respect the market. And so I think kind of what made our program really successful is we gave them so much exposure to the customer, meaning each team had several Air Force people that they could pick up and call, and there's no contracts, no nothing, where they just said, hey, my technology does this, this, and this. Is this helpful for you? Is it not? And those folks could turn around and say, that's not really helpful, but it is if it could do this. And half the time, they'd sit there and be like, oh, I just got to turn a little widget in my stuff. And like, oh,
now it does that.
Yeah, exactly, which is amazing. And, that's something that is invaluable for them because now they know how to use their products and target the Air Force, which is a potential huge customer, as well as learning all the contract vehicles that could help them actually get to the customer financially speaking. Right. So there's that, as well as the focus. Because it was commercial investment, there's commercial buy-in. So those companies aren't specifically like 100% dedicated to an Air Force requirement. They're also getting out there and getting exposure to, okay, what is the civilian world? How can they use my technology too? Yeah. So that they're not, essentially wading through the valley of death while they're waiting for the Air Force to say, oh, okay, now I finally went through all the red tape to get your product on my platform. Right. So so that's how we ran the first one. Super successful. Yeah. Our companies had a really great experience, and I think part of it was, again, that access to the customer, as well as it wasn't a super competitive environment. They all kind of brought different elements to the table, and by bringing them together, some of them were actually able to collaborate with each other to move forward, which is even cooler. Right. Yeah, like that's an unintended consequence. That's great. And, yeah. And then at the end of it, they they received investment, and today, 6 of the 7 companies that went through that first cohort have received some round of follow-on funding. So our biggest success, financially speaking, is one of our companies, Sarania Sat, received a $5.1 million deal with NASA, which is huge, for this tiny little investment that Space Capital Colorado gave them, and curriculum that was free to them. Yeah. And all that training landed them a $5.1 million deal.
That is lovely.
Yeah, super exciting. So right now we have our second cohort in session. Okay. Their topic is positioning, navigation, and timing, which is kind of, it basically means GPS as we think of it. Mm-hmm. But right now, GPS we live in a world where GPS could be compromised, whether it's jammed or spoofed or whatever. And so right now we targeted companies that have alternatives to GPS, have ways to harden GPS, so that's less of a risk that we have, because our whole world depends on GPS. Yeah. Banking, obviously navigation is the easy one.
Right.
There's just so many things that it affects that, you know, we got to make sure.
We don't even think about.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Like your ATM. Like you couldn't use ATM without GPS, which is crazy.
That's something I just recently learned, and that is crazy. And for heaven's sake, I've been living here for 8 years, and I still use GPS.
Yeah.
It's only so I know the best route to take because of traffic.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's constantly updated. It's live. Yeah. So it's a huge part of our world.
Yeah. Yeah, so these ones, these companies are a little more military focused and a little bit more mature because the way they were selected was through a SBIR process, the small business. I can't remember what the IR stands for, but the small business process where that you can apply for government funding, and then there's multiple rounds where it's like, okay, build it a little more, build it a little more. So they applied for that, and as part of it was, you know, bonus, you get to go through the Catalyst Accelerator program. But it was on a topic, the PNT topic, which is what the Air Force Research Lab is focused on right now. So those companies are currently in session, and they'll wrap up and do a demonstration day in December. It's December 13th, and we're going to have investors and other interested parties there. So, you know, they get a chance to pitch their technology and just be that much more prepared to sell and to pitch and to get everybody excited about their technologies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are our two big programs. We do a couple other things right now, and I don't know if we have time to talk on those.
We sure do, yeah.
Yeah, so we've also you know, hosted a variety of kind of exposure type events where it's like either we'll have a technology showcase where somebody will come to us and say, hey, I'm really interested in this little technology sector. Can you show me kind of what the latest and greatest is? And so we can, you know, pull out our Rolodex and just say, hey, we got companies that do this, this, and this. How's that sound? And they're like, yeah, that's great. And then they'll come and basically present, and we'll fill the room. And either those people are interested in that technology for whatever reason, or sometimes we've even done a format where we call it an IDE, an ideation design event, where instead of just listening, you're actually participating. So
fun.
Yeah, it's kind of like that instant feedback where, hey, I'm going to pitch my cool thing, and it's awesome, and here's what it does. And then people in the audience can say, so if it does this, could it do that too?
Yeah.
And they'll say, yeah, actually it could. Like, why couldn't it? So, so a lot of it is about starting those conversations, and again, doing it in an environment where it's not about a contract. It's not about, you know, a transaction.
You're amongst peers.
Yeah.
You're not pitching it. You're getting that feedback and right away, which is beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's like a non-competitive environment. It's not about like we got to get this deal done. It's about, you know, how can we bring everybody together and just share ideas in a way that's not threatening. Like, if nothing comes of it, that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's another lean startup principle is fail fast. Like, if it's a bad idea, let's not use it.
Exactly.
You know, but if it's a great idea, okay, so what's the next step? How can we move towards something? You know, so like I said, we've done several of those, we call them technology showcase events.
Yeah.
For different people that are interested in just seeing what else is out there.
How can I get involved with that?
How can you?
Well, not me personally, but anybody.
Yeah, so you can contact C-TRAC. So we have our website, and in it there's a questions portal where you can just say, hey, I'm curious about this.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's through word of mouth too, where people just, they see myself, or they see our director of business development, Erin Miller, out there. She's actually recently won a few awards for the work she's done at C-TRAC. So we're getting some notoriety there for that, which is really exciting too.
That really is.
Yeah. And so a lot of it too is just within our networks where, you know, there's other companies nationally that are kind of doing the things that we're doing for their regional partners. So we're very regionally aligned, even though we have participation from all over the country.
Yeah.
A lot of our focus is, especially like in Colorado, like this is an aerospace state.
It is.
And between aviation and space, like this is a great place to be in those industries. And we're really trying to, you know, highlight that and just say, hey, Colorado's here to play, and we have a lot lot to offer, especially in aviation and space and cyber as well, you know, obviously with the CyberWorks program.
Right.
So
I think we're getting there with technology. We're slowly, I like to think we're going to be the next Silicon Valley. People laugh at that, but
no,
I
Silicon
feel like
Mountain. Silicon Mountain.
I love that. Exactly. We are. We're Silicon Mountain. That is beautiful. No, I love this technology showcase. I think that's amazing. And again, it's one of those, it's not competitive. There's no real pressure to pitch out for that. And so I think that's absolutely awesome that you guys do that. Do you have a timeline on those? Are they every quarter, or are they just kind of when you get enough people interested?
Yeah, so we were doing them probably about once every quarter. And then we just slowed down just because we were starting to ramp up on some of our other programs. But now I think we're looking more towards getting them started again, probably once every quarter. And just a lot of it is just finding those interested parties that say, hey, I have things that I'm curious about. So I think we're going to start, you know, revving those back up and getting those more on the calendar in 2019.
Awesome. Do you have any results or feedback from the past ones that, like any contracts that were made after that, or any perhaps programs or companies that were launched from any of those showcases?
I'm trying to think. I don't know of any specific contracts or anything, but I do know of, you know, just connections that are made, like, you know, several.
Which is huge. Yeah. A lot of times.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because that, you know, it takes time and you don't know where it's going to go. But there's several companies that we've met and they're just like, this is awesome. Just invite me the next time to what you want to come to. And, you know, a lot of times, like, we don't necessarily follow all those relationships because it's impossible.
Right.
But, but we know that they're happening. There's definitely people that have called us back and said, hey, this was so cool. I met this person and it's awesome. We also have a lot of small business support programs that are offered at Catalyst Campus that are always attending and able to say, hey, have you thought about this? Like, what do you need? So we're helping those small businesses too. And like I said, it's not a predatory environment. It's just, hey, if you need this support, we're here. Here at Catalyst Campus or here in Colorado Springs. For example, we have Russ Long, who's a guy that works with us a lot. He is very good at helping people secure, you know, small business rounds of funding that the government offers up, and so he comes to a lot of our events, and I know a ton of our companies have used him, and so it's been great business for him. It's great for those companies. Like, it's a win-win. And like I said, it's this non-competitive environment. It's just about making connections and collaborating so that everybody wins.
Exactly. That's one of my favorite things I think about Colorado. Since I've been on the show, I've been here for about 2 years, and there's not a day or a week, I should say, that goes by that somebody doesn't mention the amazing collaboration that the environment Colorado provides, right?
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter the industry, even across industries, there's a lot of collaboration at work, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and so it's wonderful to see that you guys are kind of at the forefront of that for as far as technology goes. And yeah, that's amazing. We have a couple minutes left here in this segment. So if I wanted to get involved, do more with C-TRAC, what is your website?
So you can go to c-trac.org. It's c-trac.org. T-R-A-C.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'll spell it one more time, c-trac.org. So you can find out about all of our initiatives, a lot of our past programs that we've worked on, because we've kind of touched a lot of different technology sectors, obviously with the Space Accelerator program, very space-focused, but it's different aspects of technology that affect space. So big data, machine learning, artificial intelligence, all the hot buzzwords right now. Space Accelerator wants to play with you. And then as far as CyberWorks is concerned, we've done, different design sprints focused on the Internet of Things, IoT technologies, in like smart bases. We've done obviously the multi-domain command and control, airspace and cyber. How do we win in all of those domains? Those types of ones. Right now, we actually have a design sprint coming up. If anybody is interested in applying for it, if you Google CyberWorks, it'll take you to the CyberWorks page. I just can't remember exactly what it is off the top of my head. You can also get to the CyberWorks application page through the C-TRAC website.
Okay.
And that one is going to be focused on how do we build our cyber, our workforce, our Air Force cyber workforce. And I know the Army is faced with the same problem, but, how do we retain that talent? How do we get those folks that are cyber folks, probably not your traditional soldiers and airmen. How do we get them to play and to want to serve, and how to, help us achieve superiority in the cyber domain? Because obviously that's a huge threat to our democracy. It's super important.
Next place that we have to set up defense.
Absolutely,
for sure.
absolutely.
Yes.
So how do we attract top talent for the Air Force to win in the cyber domain, and how do we retain them? And we have to get creative. We can't do it just by being like, oh, well, you got to just join the Air Force, right? And you're in it. Like that doesn't necessarily work. And so how can we do this better? How can we retain that talent? How can we reward that talent? And how can we make it competitive for those people to serve in the Air Force instead of in industry? Or how do we leverage industry? Like, how do we do that? So that's our next big problem. I believe that one is going to be run in January. Okay. So applications are open if you're interested in that problem set. I mean, it's kind of an HR problem, but obviously, like, this is a retention problem that all industries face. How do you keep your top people? Exactly. So that application is open on the CyberWorks website, and which you can get to, like I said, through the C-TRAC website as well. Awesome. So yeah.
Well, thank you, Megen. This has been a pleasure. And you guys have a lot going on.
Yes, we do.
I wish you the best of luck in the government category. Again, for our awards luncheon, that's Monday, December 3rd at the Cable Center. Sign up for that at cobrt.com/events. Be sure to like and subscribe our YouTube page while you're here. Thank you, Megen. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. It's been great to be here.
Yeah. Have a great day.
Thanks.